Hello, good morning. Today I'll be doing my Yule video. I got requests to do a video about Yule. So I've been spending the past week or so doing some additional research on Yule, bits about the traditions and symbols. And I gotta tell you, there isn't a whole hell of a lot online. A lot of the websites I found were very small blips that I really can't use because it's pretty basic stuff. I need more. I want more in-depth information. A lot of the websites were also from the Wiccan perspective, which I honestly don't want to use. Yule is not a Wiccan holiday. Yule is a Germanic and Norse holiday, and though we don't know what the Celts called their solstice holiday, they still did have one. So it's a Celtic and mostly Germanic, from what we know of it, mostly Germanic holiday. Now, basically, if you take our holiday, the Christian holiday of Christmas, all you have to do, honestly, is take Jesus Christ out of it. Take Jesus Christ and the virgin birth, the Immaculate Conception, take the birth story of Jesus Christ out of Christmas, and you literally have Yule. Alright? If you look at our modern Christmas traditions, we have Christmas trees, which we decorate, and there's fancy, colorful lights we use, and then wreaths, and just evergreen everything. Mistletoe, holly and ivy, like crackling fires and snow scenes and Yule logs, and the warm fuzzy feeling of Christmas all around is basically Yule. Now, historically speaking, the date for Christmas was made the date for Christmas because of the Yule and the solstice celebrations. Christmas, if you're talking about the birth of Jesus Christ, should probably have been, and maybe it was even originally, in late spring, early summer, like roughly June, which is likely historically when Jesus Christ was actually born. The reason why it was put in December was basically the Roman way to make Christ and make Christianity appealing to the Germans, basically. Because they wanted to match it to their solstice celebration. So Christmas really has nothing to do with Christ. It's basically Yule. So when I see a lot of these actually. The bumper magnets that say "Keep Christ in Christmas" is in a little nativity scene with Mary and Jesus and Joseph. Keep Christ in Christmas. I used to think, and I still do think, that that's a nice idea. Why make it a secular thing about gift giving and presents and getting things? Why not keep it about the birth of Jesus? Why not keep it about the warm feeling of here's this awesome figure here to save us and bring peace? I like that. Why not keep Christ in Christmas? Technically speaking, though, Christmas really isn't a holiday about Christ. At all. Sorry to say, it's just not. If you want to celebrate the birth of Christ, that's all well and good. And actually, that's great. But here's where I like to draw the line here. I read an article yesterday, I don't know where it was, it just happened, about a little upheaval in a neighborhood where the whole neighborhood, they had the lights displayed and the wreaths and everything in their Christmas, or should I say like Yule decorations, and they all got a letter from a Christian neighbor, I'm guessing, saying, you decorating with the trees and the lights, you're actually celebrating the pagan sun god holiday. And I laughed. I'm like, you're actually right. That's the thing. You're right, but you're right for the wrong reasons. So, take Christ out of Christmas and you actually have Yule. I'm just going to read a little bit, the smallest little blip from Paganism, an Introduction to Earth-Centered Religions by the Higginbothams. And I love this book. Just saying, I would recommend it. Oh, come on. There you are. Okay, so this is the Winter Solstice paragraph. The Winter Solstice, also called Yule or Midwinter, occurs on December 22nd or 21st and is the first pagan holiday celebrated after the ending of the old year at Samhain. It is located in the north on the Wheel of the Year, which is this right here, which represents the land of dark nights and the cold grip of winter. When winter solstice arrives, we know we are halfway through the dark part of the year. The darkness that has been growing since the fall equinox reaches its peak at the winter solstice, making this the shortest day of the year. Starting the day after winter solstice, the length of sunlight begins to increase day by day until it reaches its peak at the summer solstice. Many view winter solstice as the day on which the sun is reborn, as indeed it is. The pagan solstice celebration is just one of the many festivals of light that occur at this time of year, including Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, St. Lucia's Day, and La Posadas. Yule traditions include the burning of a Yule log, which represents the increasing light of the season. It is a common practice to keep a piece of it to light at the next year's Yule, and to scatter some of its ashes over the fields. Kissing under the mistletoe, whose white berries symbolize semen to the ancient Druids, may remain or may be the remnants of an ancient fertility practice. Holly and evergreen are both symbols of the promise of the return of life in springtime, since their leaves do not turn brown and die like other trees. Now that's all that says about Yule. So going back to the whole idea of the white berries, for example, being symbols of semen and maybe parts of a fertility practice, that's the only book I've read, or the only place where I've seen that reference. I do know that mistletoe was a sacred plant to the Druids, but I never understood why. Again, I have been having a hard time finding accurate or even detailed descriptions of what these traditions and symbols mean. So yes, the white berries of mistletoe may be symbolic of fertility. I don't know. I'm just going to put that out there. But I do know the Christmas tree, the evergreen tree, which does not die, was used by the Germans in their Yule practices, or in their Yule celebrations. It was, from what I've read, again, I haven't found very good descriptions of Yule. From what I've read, the evergreen tree may or may not have been, I've seen both, may or may not have been decorated. I'm going to say that it was decorated for Yule, and they used the evergreen tree because it was evergreen. It did not turn brown, it did not die. It was a symbol of life. It was a symbol of life, basically. That's the only word I could come up with. So holly and ivy, as well as mistletoe, were all sacred to the Druids, who were the Celtic priests, of course. Now, basically, the basic symbolism, like the book said, of Yule, like Christmas and Kwanzaa and Hanukkah, they're holidays of light. You know, the sun, whether it's sun or the birth of the Son of God, or the birth of the God of the Sun. It's light. It's renewal. It's life coming back. So even though nowadays we see December, you know, it's the beginning of winter for us. My rats are making a lot of noise. Even though December, especially here in New England, it's bitter cold, it seems to be the beginning of winter. Well, over in Europe, especially I'm told in England, the weather patterns are somewhat different. They're much further north than we are here in America. Their weather patterns are much different. So that by now, even though it is midwinter, even though to us it feels like the beginning of winter, it is midwinter. So by the time, see, for us, spring kind of starts in like April. It's still freezing cold here in March sometimes. However, over in the Celtic lands and in the Germanic lands, it's different. It does make sense. Midwinter is December, after which it starts to warm up a little bit, and they probably have a much longer spring than we do here in Massachusetts. So, looking at the idea of solstice, the return of the sun after 6 months of darkness. So from the summer solstice to the winter solstice, the sun is getting lower in the sky. The days are becoming shorter. And it may not seem like it in August and September when it's still warm and pretty summery out, but the days are getting shorter and the weather's turning cooler. So last night here we had a little Yule ceremony, a little Yule party. And what we did was we went outside at night and kind of took in the bitter cold.